Welcome back, everybody, to another life lesson learned episode of Lockdown 23 in 1. That's right, a lesson's definitely going to be learned today. No matter where you go, you better watch what you say, especially when your actions match your words. This is actually a pretty wild case. The defendant today is going to be sentenced for the murder of a 17-year-old foreign exchange student. Very tragic situation. Of course, I'll break down a few more details on this case before we see what the honorable judge has in store for his future. Now, if you're new to the channel and enjoy all things lockup and crime related, then this is absolutely where you need to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and check out my beautifully assorted playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today. Alright, says the facts in the case are: shortly before midnight on April 27, 2014, Marcus Karma detected an intruder in his garage. Just 10 days earlier, Mr. Karma was the victim of a burglary. Someone snatched some valuable items from his garage, and the perpetrator was still at large. After the burglary, Karma's partner and mother to his baby installed a baby monitor in the garage in hopes that if someone tried to steal from them again, they'd be caught in the act. Then it happened. Mr. Karma saw a dark figure in the baby monitor. He sprang to action. He grabbed a loaded shotgun he kept by the front door. He exited his house and fired 4 shots into the darkness of the garage. 2 shots hit the intruder. 1 shot proved fatal. The intruder was a 17-year-old foreign exchange student, Direne Didi. Hopefully I pronounced that right. He was unarmed, and Didi had learned about garage hopping from his American friends. Man, oh man. Horrible situation. Look, I used to do garage hopping all the time. We would always go looking for some beers, some cool brews to cruise the night streets on our bikes. Man, oh man, it's probably the same exact thing this dude was doing here. They probably broke into the same garage the week prior. Got some Milwaukee's, man, said this is a score. But what would make them go back to the same place if that's the case, you know? So if I were to guess, it might have been someone new. Typically, even myself knew better than to go back to the same garage, right? But this is the case details. I know a lot of people are probably saying, man, home intruder, he has every right to go in there and, you know, take him out. This is going to be a very debatable one if I were to guess. But the foreign exchange student learned garage hopping from his American friends. They probably sent him on a crash mission, man. Look, go hit up that garage, bro. Go hit it up. It'll be all right. We do it all the time over here in America. Man, oh man, battery in his back, and he never came back, unfortunately. Very, very sad situation. And it's presumed that on the night of the shooting, Didi was hoping to pilfer some beer. Look, I ain't read this full article, I just kind of briefly read the details. Crazy to think that the stuff that I did as a juvie lines up with many others. And you know, a lot of people are going to say, well, he shouldn't have been in the garage to begin with. You know, you can't be breaking into people's houses, and I understand that, especially nowadays. So like I said, this will probably be a very debatable comment section. But there's a few key things here, alright, that's really going to probably change your whole course of thinking. It says that Mr. Karma cooperated with investigators and was surprised the next morning when Detective Barker from the Missoula Police Department arrested him for deliberate homicide. Karma, confident he was within the rights to defend his home, asked, "How is that deliberate homicide?" "It's just the way that the statute reads," Barker responds. It's always the easiest way to kind of deflect anger from the person being charged with it, right? Just say, that's just how they word it, bro. It ain't nothing too major, you know what I mean? And then you get into the cell block, tell the people what you're in for, and they're saying to you, you won't be out till there's 6 doors on a microwave, bro. Your goose is smoked. Either way, the article continues saying the case was much more complicated than that. In Montana, the Castle Doctrine statute reads like this: use of deadly force within an occupied structure is justified if the person reasonably believes force is necessary to prevent an assault on someone in the home or can be used to prevent forcible felony. Burglary is considered generally a forcible felony. And Karma's lawyer, Paul Ryan, would argue at trial that Karma shot Didi to prevent burglary. But Ryan and the defense team would encounter some difficult hurdles while making this case. And these are the key ornaments here, you know, since it's Christmas time. Why did Karma leave his garage open late at night? Why would someone who just had his house burglarized, I believe it was his garage, leave the garage door wide open a week later? Let's think about that for a second. You would think, personally, you'd lock everything up even tighter. But no, No, not Mr. Karma. He left that jank wide open, if I were to guess, glued to that baby monitor, hoping for the next week for some perps to walk through the damn tank. And remember, like I said in the intro, watch what you say at all times, especially if your actions in the future are aligned with them. On April 23rd, 2014, Mr. Karma went for a haircut. He was tired and grumpy. The women at the salon described him as mad at the world. At trial, they testified that Karma was belligerent and used profanity as he explained that he hasn't slept in 3 nights because he was waiting to shoot some kids. Another patron from the salon confirmed this testimony. The statement colored the way a jury would look at every action Karma took the night of April 27th. Homeboy was waiting and baiting, like I already said. Probably left the fridge door open as well. I don't know if it was summertime or not, but 3 a.m. on a summer night, you see that cool smoke clouds coming out the freezer tank, and you see them crystal blue Gatorades as well. I don't care what age I am, I'm walking in. Prison or not, I gotta get me a taste. I'm just playing, man. I'm just playing. I wouldn't dare. But this is why, he was found guilty, baiting these guys in for the most part, not to mention a few other things if you want to do your own deep dive on this case. But that's a meat and potatoes. Wild situation, he got exactly what he asked for. Minus the prison sentence, which we're about to find out right now. First, though, we're going to hear a couple people speaking on the defendant. Then the defendant's going to say a few words to the judge. Then the judge is going to lay down justice. Alright, one last thing I gotta warn y'all before I press play. The audio in the courtroom is not the best. To me, it kind of sounds like a rainforest, calming, but to others it could be tormentuous.
During his time in the Missoula County Detention Facility, we've been monitoring phone calls between him and his wife, and over their various conversations, he seems to relish in the notoriety of being a murderer.
Wow.
Commenting how other inmates treat him and how they respond around him. In one conversation on December 28th of 2014, he referred to himself as American hero for what he did. He wasn't being treated as a hero.
Alright, so we can learn something from the detective. If you're in there for murder, chances are they're going to be listening to every last word you say on that phone. So once again, he's being haunted by the words that he said himself. But I'm seeing something I've never seen in the courts before. Pterocarpus indicus, extremely rare driftwood from Singapore. Not to mention, my goodness, is that an authentic Roman centurion bathhouse tile? But yeah, Mr. Karma's definitely not an American hero, that's for sure.
I took another man's life, and I'm sorry I can't change that. I did what I felt was necessary to protect my family and myself. And I hope that no one ever finds himself in the position that I was placed in. Thank you.
So it seems like he's riding out with what he did was right all the way to the very end.
Your family was aware enough that Janelle Flagger sent out an email to all the neighbors to close your garage doors, that there's burglaries going on. But instead, you open your garage door to entice young people who foolishly are making trespasses or burglaries. In looking at what is a fair sentence and what we should do here today, you take a look at the pre-sentence report, the history, and it alarms me. It brings me to the conclusion that you're just not a very nice person.
The judge said he's alarmed because it seems as though he's just not a very nice person. And honestly, man, the vibes that I'm getting through the screen here is pure anger and wrath. Like I said, maniac status. If I were to guess, this guy would probably strangle someone in prison later on down the road.
It doesn't do us any good to relocate you to another neighborhood. You're going to pose the same risk to that neighborhood. You can suffer all the anxiety in the world, but it doesn't excuse the anguish that you have caused. And anxiety isn't an excuse for doing what you did. You didn't protect your residents. You went hunting.
In case you didn't hear, he said you didn't protect the residents. You went out haunting. That's probably the best way to describe what this guy did.
Someone stole the grass a week before, 2 weeks before. You're angry at the world, and it's evident in your behavior. You go into a public place and use the language that you use, that you're going to kill kids, see it on the news. Aren't you be proud of yourself for comments like that? Driving down the street and 4 miles an hour, when people go rowdy, you pull them off the road, get out of your car, use vulgarity at it. The dilemma I have is, where can we trust you against society? And it's evident that we can't trust you.
We can't.
For quite some time.
We can't, Your Honor.
A sentence that can assure both the protection of our communities and to remove you from society until such a time that you may be fit to re-enter society is that you be sentenced to the Montana State Prison for a period of 70 years. You're not eligible for
Jeez.
20 years.
The judge said, in other words, we're going to sentence you to the amount of time that we feel as though, it'll be safe for you to come back to society. Rehabilitated. I think 70 years would be good enough. If I were to guess, homeboy's never going to see his wife or them streets again.
Request the department upon your parole that you be placed under the conditions that are listed by Ms. Bethel in the pre-sentence report. And I want you to understand that because you be eligible, when you do become eligible for parole, that doesn't mean that you'll get parole. If your attitude in prison is the same as it has been, then you're not going to be eligible for parole. You'll be serving for full discharge. That'll make you exactly 100 years old when you get out of prison. The reasons for the sentence are those that I just stated and addressed. There is no way to protect society without confining you for a lengthy period of time.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. 70 years for an individual trying to take the law into his own hands. Crazy, crazy situation. And I'm definitely looking forward to hearing what y'all got to say about it in the comment section below. Yeah, he might have left the garage door open, but should he have went to prison? Should he have even been charged? I mean, someone broke into his garage. This is a very tricky one, but at the same time, like I said, the vibes I'm getting from this individual is very angry. Like the parlor lady said, he's angry at the world. And those type of individuals, man, I stay far the hell away from. You ain't gonna bring your rainy clouds on my parade every single day. I'm sure every last one of y'all seen a Debbie Downer in your time, and no disrespect to Debbies out there. Not saying all of y'all are downers. I gotta go though, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed today's episode and stay tuned. Today was actually supposed to be an upload about sexual predators getting got in prison, but that would definitely be for the next one, so you already know what you gotta do. Just like any other channel you enjoy. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave. And as always, more importantly than anything, y'all be easy, be safe, and stay free.